Have you ever held a coin or a bill and thought of it as more than just paper or metal? What if every time you touched money, you could command it to grow, to multiply, and to return to you in greater measure? Today, I'll show you a simple phrase, just a few words, that can transform your finances, your mindset, and your life. The power isn't in the money itself. It's in what you say when it's in your hands. Money is energy. Money is not merely paper, coins, or numbers on a screen. It is a living current, a flow, an invisible force that moves in harmony with the energy you send toward it. Just as electricity responds to a conductor, money responds to the conductors of thought, feeling, and spoken word. The way you think about money determines how it behaves in your life. When you radiate fear, money slips away. When you radiate joy, gratitude, and confidence, it moves toward you with speed and ease. Every form of energy vibrates, and money is no different. It carries the vibration you give it. When you call money hard to get, it mirrors your belief and becomes scarce. When you call money abundant and flowing, it arrives in unexpected channels. Money has no will of its own. It simply reflects the energy of the one who handles it. Your relationship with money is not determined by economy, market, or luck. It is determined by the state of your inner world. When you touch money, you are sending an energetic message to it. Your hands are magnetic. They transmit your belief and your intention. If you bless it with thoughts such as, "You come easily to me and you multiply in my life," that vibration imprints itself upon the money, and it goes out into the world carrying your command. When it returns, it comes multiplied, carrying with it the increase you decreed. Money, like all energy, loves to circulate. Stagnant energy dies, flowing energy thrives. When you give money joyfully, it is like opening a gate for more to rush in. Giving with fear shuts the gate. This is why you must give and spend with the consciousness of plenty, not lack. See each bill you send out as a messenger that will return, bringing friends. Feel the joy of releasing it into the world, knowing it will bless someone else and circle back to you. Energy flows where attention goes. If you constantly focus on debt, bills, and insufficiency, that is where your money energy will stay. But if you place your attention on abundance, opportunities, and increase, your money energy will rise to match your vision. The more you feel the reality of abundance, the more it becomes your reality in form. Thought is the blueprint. Money is the material that fills it. Fear is a low vibration and a repellent to money. Faith is a high vibration and an attractor. Every time you choose faith over fear, gratitude over complaint, blessing over resentment, you shift your financial energy. You open the way for money to come not only through expected means like salary or sales, but through surprising avenues, a gift, a refund, a sudden opportunity, a door you never thought to knock on. Speak to money as you would speak to a cherished friend. Welcome it, honor it, and appreciate its presence. Keep it in order, for order is the signature of abundance. Money responds to respect. It resists neglect. If you crumple it carelessly or speak ill of it, you push it away. But if you handle it with care, speak of it with gratitude, and affirm its growing presence, it will stay near and bring more of its kind. The great secret is that money is not the source of wealth, you are. Money is simply one expression of the wealth consciousness within you. When you align your thoughts, words, and emotions with abundance, money becomes a loyal servant, eager to carry out your intentions. It flows where you invite it, rests where you bless it, and multiplies where you love it. Words have power. Every word you speak is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Once spoken, it takes root and begins to grow, attracting into your life the conditions, people, and circumstances that match its nature. Words are not empty sounds. They are living vibrations that carry the blueprint of creation. What you speak over your life, you invite into your life. What you declare over your finances, you authorize to take form in your world. Many treat words lightly, unaware that each utterance is a command to the unseen forces that shape reality. When you speak of lack, you summon lack. When you speak of abundance, you summon abundance. The universe does not filter your words by whether you mean them or not, it simply takes them as instructions. Words are energy in motion, and they never return void. They always accomplish the purpose for which they were sent. Your tongue can be an instrument of prosperity or a weapon of poverty. To say, "I can't afford it," is to lock the door on opportunity. To say, "Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways," is to open the gates of supply. Words are creative tools, not casual decorations. Every statement you make about yourself, your work, and your money carries the power to build or to destroy. If you speak carelessly, you create carelessly. If you speak with intention, you create with intention. The vibration of your words shapes the vibration of your money. Speak of your finances as healthy, growing, and abundant, and you set in motion the forces that make it so. Speak of them as struggling, draining, or scarce, and you set in motion the forces that sustain that struggle. The law is simple. You reap in your finances the harvest of the words you have sown. Guard your speech as you would guard your treasure. Make no casual jokes about being broke, unlucky, or cursed with bad finances. Every time you say such things, you breathe life into them. The subconscious mind does not laugh. It obeys. If you would plant roses, you would not scatter thorns into the soil. So if you would plant prosperity, do not scatter words of lack into the garden of your mind. Words, when spoken with faith, become decrees. A decree is more than a wish. It is a command issued from the authority of belief. When you say, "I am wealthy in all ways," with conviction, you release a creative force that moves through channels seen and unseen to fulfill itself. Words backed with emotion are seeds watered with life. Words spoken with doubt are seeds cast on barren ground. You are speaking over your life every day, whether you are aware of it or not. Conversations with others, self-talk in your mind, even passing comments under your breath. All of these are shaping the energy of your future. If you wish to change your financial world, begin by changing your financial language. Replace "I can't" with "I can." Replace "I lack" with "I have." Replace "I'm waiting for money" with "Money flows to me now." Words can open doors that effort alone cannot. A single phrase, spoken with faith and repeated with gratitude, can cause circumstances to shift in your favor. The right words dissolve obstacles and draw to you the right people, ideas, and opportunities. This is why it is vital to choose words that are in harmony with the life you desire, not the one you fear. When you understand that every sentence is a strand in the web of your reality, you begin to speak with purpose. You no longer waste words on worry, complaint, or criticism, for you know they will return multiplied. You choose instead to fill the air with words of blessing, prosperity, and peace, for you know they carry the power to bring forth exactly what they declare. Bless what you have. What you bless increases. What you criticize withers. The simple act of blessing what you have, no matter how small, sets in motion a current of multiplication. Many wait for more before they feel grateful, not knowing that it is gratitude for the little that opens the door to the much. The seed is never despised by the wise gardener, for it contains the forest. In the same way, your smallest coin, your humblest possession, contains the energy of greater things to come when blessed. Blessing is more than saying thank you. It is the conscious recognition that what you have is alive with divine supply. It is affirming that even the smallest possession is part of an infinite source. When you bless your money, you are not blessing paper or metal. You are blessing the infinite flow that brought it to you and the infinite flow that will bring more. Blessing transforms your perception, and perception transforms your reality. Many look at their bank account and frown. They speak words of complaint over their home, their clothes, their job. Without realizing it, they are cursing their own harvest. To curse something is not always to speak a harsh word. It can be as subtle as calling it not enough or only this much. Every time you do so, you cut the energetic thread of increase. To bless is to speak of it as good, complete, and sufficient, no matter its appearance in the moment. Blessing raises the vibration of what you have. If you hold a single dollar and declare, "You are blessed and you multiply in my life," you have infused that money with the energy of expansion. When that dollar leaves your hand, it carries your blessing with it, and it returns with companions. Energy always responds to the quality of attention you give it. Blessing is high-energy attention. To bless what you have is to live as if you already possess abundance. When you bless your clothes, they seem to last longer and look finer. When you bless your home, it feels warmer and more beautiful. When you bless your work, it becomes more satisfying and profitable. Blessing aligns you with the law of increase, which responds to joy and appreciation as naturally as plants respond to sunlight. It is a mistake to wait for circumstances to change before you begin to bless them. Blessing what you have now is the very force that causes them to change. If your income seems small, bless it for what it provides. Bless it as the seed of greater income. If your business is quiet, bless every client, every sale, every opportunity. Speak to them with love, knowing that more are on the way. What you bless cannot help but grow. Blessing also dissolves resentment and envy. You cannot bless something and resent it at the same time. When you bless the wealth of another, you align yourself with the vibration of wealth itself. The blessings you give return to you, for nothing is ever lost in the universe. Your words, thoughts, and feelings are like boomerangs. They return to the sender carrying increase. Make blessing a daily practice. When you hold money, bless it. When you spend money, bless it. When you see money in the hands of another, bless it. When you receive anything, a meal, a compliment, an opportunity, bless it. The more blessings you give, the more blessings you create. Life is quick to respond to the heart that is generous with its praise and gratitude. Speak prosperity, not lack. Your words are the architects of your world, shaping the conditions you live in day by day. Every sentence is either building the mansion of prosperity or the prison of lack. When you speak, you are setting laws in motion, laws that obey the vibration of your words without question. To speak of shortage is to plant shortage. To speak of abundance is to plant abundance. Life listens, and it answers in kind. Many people unknowingly keep themselves in struggle because their daily language is filled with the tone of lack. They say, "I can't afford it," "money doesn't stretch far enough," or "there's never enough to go around." These are not harmless statements, they are decrees of limitation. Each time such words are spoken, the invisible current of prosperity slows and the flow of supply narrows. The universe does not judge whether you mean these words, it simply brings to you the harvest they describe. Speaking prosperity is more than saying positive words. It is speaking from the consciousness of already having. It is affirming that your supply is here, now, and increasing, even if your outer world has not yet caught up to the truth you are declaring. When you say, "I live in a world of endless supply," you are not denying the facts. You are speaking to the higher law that governs the facts. You are calling forth what already exists in the unseen. When you speak prosperity, you tune your vibration to the frequency of wealth. This frequency draws to you ideas, opportunities, and people who are aligned with abundance. Just as a radio station must be tuned to receive a particular song, your words must be tuned to receive the music of prosperity. A mouth that speaks abundance cannot remain in lack for long, for the two cannot coexist. Speaking prosperity is an act of faith. It requires choosing words of increase when appearances tempt you to complain. It means blessing your bills instead of cursing them, calling your income abundant instead of small, and speaking of opportunities as plentiful instead of rare. Faith is shown in the willingness to speak prosperity even before there is visible evidence. Just as a farmer declares his field fruitful while the seed is still in the soil, you declare your life abundant while the evidence is still forming. You must also remove the subtle language of lack. Phrases such as, "I hope I can manage," "money is tight," or "things are slow" are small leaks that drain the reservoir of your supply. Replace them with statements like, "Money flows to me freely," "I am always provided for," and "My affairs prosper and increase." Each replacement is a shift in vibration, a turning of the dial toward the frequency of wealth. The spoken word is a magnet, and it draws after its own kind. When you continually speak abundance, you begin to notice it in your surroundings. You see opportunities where before you saw obstacles. You receive invitations, ideas, and openings that seem to come by chance but are, in truth, the result of your magnetic speech. Prosperity-conscious words call prosperity-conscious experiences into your life. Even when discussing challenges, choose the language of increase. Instead of saying, "I'm in trouble financially," say, "This is being resolved in my favor." Instead of "business is slow," say, "Business is building momentum." Speak as if the result you desire is already on its way, because the moment you speak it, you set it in motion. The energy of your words travels ahead of you, preparing the way for the reality you have declared. Every coin is a seed. Every coin you hold, every bill you receive, is more than a piece of currency. It is a seed. Like all seeds, it carries within it the potential for multiplication. The smallest seed can grow into a mighty tree when planted in fertile soil and cared for with attention. So it is with money. The way you think about it, speak to it, and use it determines the harvest it will produce. When a farmer plants seeds, he does so with the expectation of increase. He does not bury a single seed in the soil and expect to see only that seed return. He knows that one seed contains the power to produce 100-fold. The same is true for money. It will return in greater measure when released with the consciousness of growth and blessing. But if it is held with fear, hoarded with distrust, or scattered without care, the seed is hindered and the harvest is delayed. To see money as a seed is to recognize that every amount, no matter how small, has creative potential. The smallest coin can be the beginning of a financial forest if treated with the right vibration. When you give, invest, or spend with the thought, "This is a seed that will return multiplied," you align yourself with the law of increase. You release it into the soil of circulation, where it can take root and grow. The soil in which you plant your financial seeds is your consciousness. If you plant with joy, faith, and expectancy, the soil is fertile. If you plant with fear, resentment, or doubt, the soil is dry and unyielding. This is why the same amount of money can produce great increase for one person and none for another. It is not the seed alone, but the condition of the soil that determines the harvest. You plant a money seed every time you spend, every time you give, and every time you invest. If you release money grudgingly, it carries with it a vibration of lack, and that vibration will return to you. If you release it joyfully, blessing its journey and the people it will benefit, it returns with companions. This is the spiritual law of circulation. What you send out with blessing comes back increased. Just as a farmer does not dig up his seeds to see if they are growing, you must resist the urge to worry over the money you have planted. Doubt is like uprooting the seed before it has had time to sprout. Trust the process. The moment you plant, the moment you give or invest with faith, the unseen work of multiplication begins. Opportunities, ideas, and channels of supply begin to arrange themselves in your favor. The harvest may not always come from the same field where you planted. You may give to one person and receive from another. You may spend in one place and find unexpected income from a completely different source. Seeds often grow in ways and places the planter does not expect, but they always return to the one who sowed them. Treat every coin you touch as precious. See it not as something to be spent and gone, but as a living seed that will return to you in greater measure. Handle it with gratitude, speak to it with love, and send it forth with blessing. The more seeds you plant in faith, the richer the harvest that will find its way back into your hands. Money loves to be loved. Money responds to the energy with which it is received, handled, and spoken about. Just as people thrive in the warmth of affection and appreciation, money flourishes when it is loved. Love is a magnetic force, drawing to you more of whatever you give it to. When you love money, not from greed but from gratitude, you create an inviting space for it to dwell and multiply in your life. Many are taught to fear money, distrust it, or even despise it, as if money itself were the source of problems. But money is not the cause of good or evil. It is simply a tool, a servant, a form of energy. It takes on the character of the one who uses it. When you love money, you do not worship it. You respect it, care for it, and use it to create good. This loving respect causes it to flow more freely toward you. Love is expressed through the way you handle what you have now. If you crumple your bills, scatter your coins, and speak of money with complaint, you are pushing it away. But if you arrange it neatly, count it with appreciation, and speak to it with blessing, you are sending it the message that it is safe and welcome with you. Energy moves toward warmth, not coldness, toward openness, not resistance. When you love money, you enjoy both giving and receiving it. You are as joyful to release it into circulation as you are to welcome it back. Money, like any living energy, thrives on movement. Hoarding it in fear causes the current to stagnate. Releasing it with love keeps the river of supply flowing strong. Each dollar you spend with joy becomes an ambassador of prosperity, returning to you with increase. To love money is also to speak well of it. Words of resentment or criticism lower its vibration in your world. Saying, "Money is hard to get," or "money doesn't stay long," is like speaking unkindly about a friend. You diminish the bond. Instead, speak words that affirm your partnership with money. Money comes to me easily. Money stays and grows with me. Money serves my highest good. These declarations keep the relationship strong and harmonious. The feeling of love for money is really the feeling of love for the source that provides it. Every bill, every coin, every credit to your account is a manifestation of an infinite supply. When you bless and love money, you are acknowledging the divine current that flows through it. This deepens your connection to the source of abundance itself, making you a stronger channel for its expression. People who love money in this way often find that it shows up in delightful and unexpected ways. It may come as a refund you didn't anticipate, a gift from someone, an increase in business, or a sudden opportunity. This is because love is expansive. It opens doors that effort alone cannot. The more you cultivate warm, appreciative feelings toward money, the more channels appear for it to reach you. You can begin right now by blessing the money you have, no matter how little or how much. Hold it in your hands and feel genuine gratitude for its presence. See it as alive, as a friend, as a loyal companion. Treat it with care, for energy responds to attention. The more love you give to the money in your life, the more reasons it will have to stay and bring more of its kind to you. Circulation creates multiplication. Money, like blood in the body or water in a river, is meant to flow. When it moves, it brings life and vitality. When it is blocked, it grows stagnant and lifeless. Circulation is the law by which multiplication occurs. Every time money leaves your hands with blessing, it sets out on a journey that will bring it back to you multiplied. Just as a seed must be planted to grow, money must be set in motion to expand. Those who fearfully cling to money, hoarding it in distrust of tomorrow, unknowingly cut themselves off from the very flow that would bring them more. A farmer does not keep all his seeds locked away in a barn for fear of losing them. He plants them in the earth, trusting the law of growth. Likewise, your money must be released into the soil of circulation through giving, spending with joy, and investing in ways that create good for it to bear fruit. Circulation is not waste. It is purposeful movement. When you spend money consciously and with gratitude, you keep it alive. That same money moves into someone else's hands, where it blesses them, and in time, it circles back to you, enriched by the journey. This is why it is wise to let go of any guilt about spending when it is done with intention and appreciation. What you release in love always returns in love. Even the smallest act of circulation sets the law in motion. A coin given with joy, a bill spent with blessing, a tip left with gratitude, all of these carry your energy out into the world, where it gathers more of its kind and returns. The law does not measure the size of the gift, but the spirit in which it is given. A small seed planted in fertile ground can grow into a vast harvest. Fear is the greatest dam in the river of circulation. When you hold back money because you fear you will not have enough, you choke the flow. The universe responds not to what you keep, but to what you release. The hand that is clenched to hold on cannot receive. The hand that opens to give and spend joyfully is the hand that receives abundantly. Circulation also clears away the old to make room for the new. When you allow money to move, you create space for fresh energy, new opportunities, and unexpected channels of income. Just as stale air must be replaced with fresh air to keep a room healthy, old money patterns must be replaced with vibrant circulation to keep prosperity alive. You may have noticed that when you give generously, even during times of challenge, the return often comes swiftly and in surprising ways. This is because circulation signals trust. It tells the universe, I know there is more where this came from. That confidence is magnetic. It attracts people, ideas, and resources to you. Money, sensing it is appreciated and allowed to move freely, delights in returning to such a keeper. Treat circulation as an act of partnership with the infinite supply. When you release money, bless it on its journey. See it as a traveler going out into the world to create good and gather companions before returning to you. Imagine it carrying your energy of abundance wherever it goes, touching lives, and then finding its way back to your hands with increase. In this way, circulation becomes not a loss, but a joyful sowing of seeds that ensures a continual harvest in your life. Prosperity is your divine right. You were not born to live in lack, struggle, or limitation. You were born to express the fullness of life, to live in ease, to create, to enjoy, and to share. Prosperity is not a privilege granted to a chosen few. It is the natural state of every soul in harmony with the divine order. Just as the sun does not choose who will receive its light, the law of abundance does not choose who will receive supply. It is ever present, waiting for your recognition and acceptance. To claim prosperity as your divine right is to understand that it is not dependent on the economy, on other people, or on chance. It is rooted in the infinite source from which all things flow, a source that never runs dry, never withholds, never limits. Your connection to this source is eternal, and through it, every need can be met, every desire fulfilled, every dream brought into form. Poverty is not holiness. Struggle is not virtue. These are distortions born of fear and misunderstanding. The divine expression is abundance in every form: beauty, health, joy, love, and material supply. To reject prosperity is to reject part of the life you were meant to live. To embrace it is to honor the creative power that brought you into existence and desires to express itself through you. Prosperity is a consciousness before it is a condition. It begins in the mind, in the unwavering knowing that you are supported by an infinite and generous universe. When you hold this knowing, circumstances must rearrange themselves to match it. When you speak from this knowing, your words carry the authority of truth, and doors open where none seem to exist. You affirm your divine right to prosperity, not by begging or pleading for it, but by claiming it as already yours. Just as a child of a wealthy household does not doubt their inheritance, you must not doubt the abundance that is your birthright. You do not strive for it with fear, you step into it with certainty. You do not chase it, you magnetize it by knowing it is already here in the unseen, awaiting your acceptance. This claiming is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is standing in the truth that the same power that made the stars, the oceans, and the endless fields has also made provision for your needs. You are not separate from the abundance you seek. You are made of the same energy that produces it. To live in lack while believing you are separate is like standing in the ocean and dying of thirst. The water is all around you, but you must open your hands and drink. Your divine right to prosperity is exercised through faith, gratitude, and action. Faith keeps you anchored in the unseen supply. Gratitude multiplies what you already have. Action moves you into alignment with the opportunities and ideas that bring your good into tangible form. When these three are combined, prosperity flows as naturally as breath. Begin each day by affirming, "Prosperity is my divine right. I claim it, I accept it, I live it now." Let this truth guide your decisions, shape your words, and infuse your thoughts. Look upon the world with the eyes of one who knows there is no shortage, only infinite channels through which supply may flow. Walk as one who is already rich in the currency of the universe, knowing that every step you take is on ground that has already been prepared for your abundance. Fear repels supply. Fear is a magnet in reverse. Instead of drawing to you what you desire, it pushes it away. It creates an invisible wall between you and the abundance that is already yours by right. Fear whispers of loss, of insufficiency, of danger ahead, and when you listen, you begin to act, speak, and think from that vibration. The law of life responds to vibration, not to wishful thinking. If your energy is shaped by fear, your results will mirror it. Supply is always present, like the air you breathe, yet fear convinces you it is scarce. Just as a person holding their breath in panic cuts themselves off from the very oxygen that could save them, one who fears lack cuts themselves off from the flow of provision. The more you grip in fear, the more tightly you close the channels through which good could reach you. Fear makes the mind small. It narrows vision until all you can see are obstacles and threats. When your focus is on what you might lose, you cannot see the opportunities standing right in front of you. Fear dims intuition, clouds decision-making, and drives you toward choices that only reinforce the very lack you dread. The energy of fear cannot coexist with the energy of creation, for creation requires openness, trust, and expansion. Prosperity responds to faith the way a flower responds to sunlight. Faith draws it closer, nourishes it, and gives it room to grow. Fear is the shadow that blocks that light. When you dwell in fear, you are telling the universe, "I do not trust the source. I do not believe more is coming." And so, by that very statement, spoken in energy if not in words, you close the door to the flow. This is why those who live in constant worry often find their troubles multiplied. Fear sets in motion the very conditions it dreads. The anxious merchant loses customers, not because the market has failed, but because his fearful energy drives opportunity away. The worker who constantly fears losing her job may unconsciously act in ways that bring that fear to pass. Fear plants seeds of loss and waters them with doubt. The antidote to fear is trust. Trust in the law of supply. Trust in the unseen source that provides for every living thing. You never see a bird worrying about the next worm, nor a tree fretting over where the next rain will come from. They live in the flow of provision, responding naturally to the cycles of giving and receiving. This same law governs you, but fear blinds you to its operation. To dissolve fear, you must replace it with thoughts, words, and actions of faith. Every time a fearful thought about money or resources arises, answer it with an affirmation of abundance. Speak out loud. I am divinely provided for. Supply is endless. All my needs are met now. By speaking this truth repeatedly, you train your mind to return to faith, just as a river returns to its course after being diverted. Act as if the supply you desire is already on its way. Release money with blessing instead of clinging to it in dread. Step into opportunities instead of shrinking back. Fear says, hold on tight or you'll lose it. Faith says, let it flow and it will return multiplied. Every act of courage is a signal to the universe that you are ready to receive more. Fear may knock at the door, but you do not have to let it in. You can choose to remain in the vibration of trust, to open your hands instead of clenching them, to keep the channels clear so that supply can find you swiftly and in greater measure than you imagined. Affirm ownership of abundance now. Abundance is not something you must chase, earn through endless struggle, or wait for some distant day to claim. It is here now, surrounding you, ready to manifest in the visible world the moment you accept it as yours. The universe does not withhold, only the mind does, through doubt, delay, and disbelief. When you affirm ownership of abundance, you open the gates for it to flow into your life without resistance. Ownership begins in consciousness. You cannot truly possess what you have not yet accepted in your mind and heart. The wealthy person is wealthy in thought before they are wealthy in form. They see themselves as provided for, supported, and surrounded by plenty, even before the evidence shows. In the same way, you must claim abundance as your reality now, not tomorrow, not when things improve, but in this present moment. Every word you speak is a declaration of ownership. When you say, I can't afford this, or I never have enough, you are affirming ownership of lack. But when you say, I have more than enough for all I desire, or I live in constant supply, you are placing your claim on abundance. The universe hears your claim and responds accordingly. Your words are like the title deed to your experience. They prove what you have accepted as yours. Affirming ownership of abundance is not about pretending, it is about aligning your mind with truth. The truth is that you are connected to an infinite source that cannot be depleted. Your good exists in the unseen before it appears in the seen. By affirming it now, you draw it from the invisible into the visible. Just as a seed contains the full design of the plant it will become, your affirmations contain the design of the abundance that will unfold. Use your imagination to see yourself already living in the reality you desire. Feel the security of financial ease. See the beauty of your surroundings. Experience in your mind the freedom and joy of having more than enough. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the blueprint from which the material world is built. By holding that image with faith, you give the universe the pattern to follow. Ownership is also demonstrated through action. A person who owns something cares for it, honors it, and uses it with confidence. If you truly believe you are abundant, you will give with joy, spend without fear, and invest with faith. Every act becomes an affirmation. Every choice says to the universe, I know I am provided for, and I act from that knowing. Delay is a subtle form of denial. When you say, I will claim abundance when the time is right, you are telling the universe that now is not the time, and the flow pauses. The only moment you can claim anything is now. Now is when you speak the word. Now is when you release fear. Now is when you plant the seed of your desire in the soil of faith. Make your affirmations clear, bold, and present tense. Say, I am abundant now. I have all I need and more. Everything I touch prospers. I am rich in opportunity, in resources, in ideas, and in supply. Let these words saturate your mind until they become your natural thought. Speak them in the morning, throughout the day, and before you sleep. The repetition engraves the truth in your consciousness, and consciousness is the womb from which all conditions are born. When you affirm ownership of abundance now, you stop waiting and start living. You step into the flow of provision instead of standing on the shore. You act, speak, and think as one who already possesses the fullness of life, and life rushes to meet you with evidence of the claim you have boldly made. Your hands are magnetic. Your hands are more than instruments for work. They are channels of energy. Every time you touch money, objects, or people, you transfer the energy you carry within. If your heart is filled with gratitude, confidence, and prosperity consciousness, your hands become magnets that draw supply, opportunities, and blessings toward you. But if your heart is filled with fear, resentment, or lack, your hands repel the very good you desire. Magnetism is not just a scientific principle, it is a spiritual one. Whatever energy you send out through your hands returns to you in kind. This is why it is so important to handle everything you touch with care, blessing, and good intention. When you hold money, treat it as a friend. When you give, give with joy. When you receive, receive with appreciation. In doing so, you charge your hands with a current that attracts increase. Think of the farmer who plants seeds. He does not throw them carelessly. He places them with trust in the soil, knowing each seed carries potential. In the same way, every act of giving, spending, or creating with your hands is planting a seed in the field of the universe. The energy you release through your hands determines the kind of harvest you will receive. Your hands respond to your thoughts. If you work with frustration or bitterness, that vibration travels through your touch into the work itself, often creating struggle or delay in results. But if you work with love, pride, and confidence, that same touch infuses your work with magnetic energy that draws success. Every handshake, every crafted object, every note of currency you pass carries your unseen signature. You can increase the magnetism of your hands through conscious intention. Before touching money, pause for a moment, breathe, and bless it. Feel genuine gratitude for its presence. Imagine it as a messenger of abundance, ready to bring more of its kind back to you. When you give it away, see it returning multiplied. When you receive it, see it as proof that the universe trusts you to circulate its gifts. This same magnetism applies to more than money. When you touch your possessions, care for them. Polishing a table, folding clothes, or arranging flowers with love strengthens the magnetic current around you. The energy of care and order always draws more good into your environment. Neglect and disregard weaken the current and invite loss. Even in relationships, your hands are magnetic. A warm handshake, a reassuring pat, a loving embrace all transmit energy. When your touch is sincere and uplifting, people are drawn to you, and with them come opportunities, resources, and blessings. Your magnetism is felt long before your words are heard. If you wish to attract more wealth, opportunity, or success, start by changing how you use your hands each day. Write your goals with intention, exchange money with blessing, work with purpose, give with joy. Each action charges your personal magnetic field, which in turn shapes the conditions of your life. Remember that your hands are extensions of your mind and heart. They cannot give what the inner life does not hold. Fill yourself with thoughts of abundance, images of success, and feelings of gratitude, and your hands will naturally transmit that same vibration. As you reach out into the world, whether to offer, to receive, or to create, you will find that what you touch will be drawn back to you with increase. The universe responds to clear decrees. The universe is always listening. It hears every word you speak, every thought you dwell on, and every belief you hold as a decree, a statement of what you claim as truth. But it responds most powerfully to clarity. A clear decree is like a direct command sent to the great creative force that shapes your life. When you speak with certainty, conviction, and precision, you set spiritual law into motion, and the universe rushes to fulfill your word. Vague wishes bring vague results. When you say, "I want more money someday," you give no clear instruction. The law does not act on uncertainty, but when you declare, I now receive $10,000 with ease and in perfect ways. You send a precise signal. You are telling the universe exactly what to deliver and affirming that you expect it now. The clarity of your decree removes confusion from the creative process. A decree is not begging or pleading. It is a command made in alignment with divine law. You do not ask as one who is powerless. You speak as one who knows the authority given to them by the source of all creation. Just as a ruler issues a decree and expects it to be carried out, you must issue your decree with the same assurance. The power of your word depends on the certainty behind it. Clarity comes from knowing what you truly want and releasing all contradictions. If you say, "I want wealth," but your thoughts are filled with fear of not having enough, your decree is muddled. The universe responds to the dominant tone of your energy, not just the words you say. This is why your decrees must be backed by faith and supported by inner agreement. Your mind, emotions, and words must all point in the same direction. When you decree abundance, you are not creating something from nothing. You are calling forth what already exists in the unseen realm. Supply, health, opportunity, and love are already present in spiritual form. Your decree acts as the bridge that brings them into the physical. The moment you speak with clarity, the universe begins to arrange circumstances, people, and events to fulfill your command. Every great change begins with a decree. A business is built because someone declared, "I will create this." A fortune is amassed because someone decreed, "I will prosper." Healing comes because someone decreed, "I am whole now." The spoken word shapes reality because it carries the energy of creation. When you speak, you impress your intention on the substance of the universe, and that substance takes form according to your instruction. It is vital to make your decrees in the present tense. Say, "I have," not "I will have." Say, "It is mine now," not "one day it will be." The present tense declares that the thing is already yours in the unseen and simply awaiting manifestation in the seen. This brings your vibration into harmony with the fulfillment, allowing it to appear swiftly and with ease. Repeat your decrees daily, not from desperation, but from authority. Speak them in the morning to set the tone of your day. Speak them before sleep to impress them upon your subconscious mind. Let them become so much a part of your thinking that they are unshakable, no matter what outer appearances may suggest. The universe has no choice but to answer a clear decree. The moment you speak with conviction, the law of creation is engaged. Your words go forth as living forces, touching minds, opening doors, and moving through unseen channels to bring your decree into visible form. Wealth is a state of consciousness first. Wealth does not begin in the bank. It begins in the mind. Before riches appear in form, they must be established in thought. Every fortune, every thriving business, every stream of supply was first conceived in consciousness. The outer world is only a reflection of the inner. If your mind is filled with thoughts of scarcity, fear, and limitation, no amount of effort will produce lasting wealth. But if your mind is saturated with ideas of abundance, expansion, and possibility, the conditions of wealth will form naturally around you. Your consciousness is like the soil, and your thoughts are the seeds. If you plant seeds of lack, worrying about bills, speaking of never enough, imagining shortage, you will grow a harvest of shortage. But if you plant seeds of prosperity, speaking of more than enough, imagining success, feeling the security of plenty, you will grow a harvest of abundance. The soil does not care what seeds you plant, it simply returns what you give it. The universe operates the same way. Many try to reverse the process, thinking, "When I have money, I will feel abundant." But spiritual law works in the opposite order. Feel abundant first, and money will flow to you. This is why two people can start with the same resources, yet one creates wealth while the other remains in struggle. The difference is not in opportunity, it is in consciousness. The wealthy thinker sees every challenge as an opening, every idea as a potential fortune, every connection as a doorway. The poor thinker sees obstacles, risk, and reasons why something will not work. You cannot hold thoughts of limitation and expect unlimited results. Wealth consciousness must become your natural state. This means constantly training your mind to dwell on abundance, even when appearances suggest otherwise. It means speaking words of increase instead of words of decline. It means blessing the wealth you see in others instead of envying it. Every thought of resentment, jealousy, or fear closes the channels of your supply. Every thought of gratitude, joy, and expansion opens them wider. Wealth consciousness also means knowing that supply comes from the infinite source, not from a single job, client, or investment. When you see yourself connected to the endless flow of the universe, you stop clinging to one channel as your only way to prosper. You become open to unexpected avenues, to blessings that arrive in ways you could not have planned. This openness is magnetic. It draws opportunity, ideas, and resources toward you with little strain. To develop wealth consciousness, saturate your mind daily with the images, words, and feelings of abundance. Read about success. Surround yourself with symbols of prosperity, even if they are small at first. Carry yourself with the dignity of one who knows they are richly supplied. Give generously in proportion to what you have, for giving affirms that you live in an endless flow. When you act from wealth consciousness, you make decisions differently. You invest in growth instead of shrinking back in fear. You see possibilities instead of problems. You expect good news instead of bracing for bad. This mental posture shapes the opportunities that come to you because your outer world mirrors your inner expectation. The truth is that wealth is not a number, it is a state of being. You can feel rich before you ever count the money. You can walk in the vibration of abundance long before the physical evidence appears. And when you do, the evidence must appear, for the outer world cannot resist aligning with the consciousness you have claimed as your own. Bless every transaction. Every exchange of energy, whether through money, goods, or services, is a transaction. Each one carries a vibration, and that vibration determines whether your supply grows or diminishes. When you bless every transaction, you infuse it with a current of increase that multiplies as it moves. What you bless expands. What you resent contracts. Money is never just paper and coins. It is a carrier of energy, moving from one hand to another, connecting people, businesses, and ideas. When you spend money, you are sending it on a journey. If you send it with fear, irritation, or regret, it travels away from you reluctantly and often returns slowly, if at all. But if you send it with joy, gratitude, and blessing, it goes forth charged with the magnetic power to return multiplied. Blessing a transaction is not complicated. It is simply speaking or thinking words of increase over it. When you pay for groceries, silently affirm, "I bless this exchange. This money returns to me multiplied in perfect ways." When you receive payment for your work, say, "I bless this income. May it prosper those who gave it, and may it bring more good to all." These blessings align your energy with the law of circulation, keeping the channels of your supply open and flowing. Every transaction has two sides, giving and receiving. Blessing ensures that both are elevated. When you give, you affirm that you have more than enough and are part of the universal flow. When you receive, you affirm that you are worthy of abundance and that more is coming. This mindset transforms every exchange from a mere transfer of value into a spiritual act of multiplication. Resentment, on the other hand, poisons the flow. If you pay a bill while thinking, "This is taking all my money," you are affirming loss. If you accept payment while feeling it is not enough, you are affirming insufficiency. The universe does not distinguish between large or small transactions. It responds only to the energy you attach to them. A small payment blessed with joy can open the way for greater sums to arrive, while a large sum resented or feared can slip quickly from your hands. Blessing also dissolves fear. Many hold back from spending because they believe their supply will run out. But when you bless your spending, you affirm the truth that your supply is infinite. You acknowledge that money is a river, not a reservoir, that it must flow in order to remain fresh. Blessing keeps you from gripping tightly in fear and instead allows you to release money with confidence that it will return. You can also bless transactions before they even occur. Before meeting a client, making a sale, or making a purchase, take a moment to speak words of good over it. Affirm, "This exchange blesses all involved. It is harmonious, abundant, and complete." This proactive blessing sets the tone for a smooth, prosperous outcome. Even debts and obligations can be transformed through blessing. If you must repay money, bless it as you send it, saying, "I release this payment with joy." It blesses the receiver and opens the way for greater supply to flow to me. This shifts the energy from burden to opportunity and invites unexpected channels of return. When blessing becomes your habit, every transaction feels light, joyful, and expansive. Money no longer feels like something that leaves you. It becomes something that moves through you, carrying your intention of increase into the world and returning to you enriched by every hand it touches. A single phrase can open the floodgates. There are moments when a single, well-spoken phrase can shift the entire course of your life. Words are more than sounds. They are living forces, carriers of energy, keys that unlock spiritual doors. The right phrase, spoken with conviction, can open channels of supply, dissolve obstacles, and release blessings that have been held back. Just as one key can unlock a great vault, one phrase, charged with faith, can open the floodgates of abundance. This is because the universe responds to clarity and authority. When you speak a phrase with unwavering belief, you are not merely expressing a wish, you are issuing a decree. That decree becomes a command to the invisible forces of creation, telling them exactly what to arrange on your behalf. The phrase does not need to be long or complex. In fact, the simpler it is, the more powerful it often becomes, for simplicity carries purity of intention. A phrase such as, "I am open to receive now," can shift you from resistance to acceptance in an instant. "Everything I touch prospers" can turn your attention from fear of loss to expectation of gain. "I walk in endless supply" can move your focus from limitation to the truth of infinite provision. The words themselves are not magic. It is the faith, repetition, and alignment behind them that release their power. When you speak a powerful phrase, you are planting a seed in your consciousness. With each repetition, the seed grows roots deeper into your belief system. Over time, it becomes the dominant thought, and the outer world reshapes itself to match it. This is why people who repeat certain prosperity phrases daily often see their finances improve, opportunities increase, and their confidence grow. They are literally reprogramming their consciousness to receive more. A single phrase can also cut through the noise of negative thinking. When fear tries to creep in, repeating a phrase like, "I am divinely provided for," instantly redirects your mind to a place of safety and certainty. The mind cannot hold two opposing thoughts at once. When you give it a phrase of power, you push out the vibration of lack and replace it with abundance. It is important to speak your chosen phrase in the present tense, as if the thing is already yours. Words like, "I will have," place the good in the future, always just out of reach. Words like, "I have," "I am," and "it is done," affirm that it is already a present reality in the unseen, awaiting its appearance in the seen. This alignment with the now is what triggers manifestation. The floodgates open when your phrase moves from being a mental exercise to a deep conviction. At first, you may speak it and feel doubt tugging at you. But persistence dissolves doubt. Keep declaring it morning and night, during quiet moments and busy ones. Say it aloud with energy, write it down, whisper it in gratitude before sleep. Each time you are turning the handle of the gate, loosening it, until at last the pressure of stored-up blessings bursts through. Some phrases are personal, arising from your own experience and desire. Others are timeless declarations that have opened the way for countless people across generations. You may find that one phrase stays with you for a season, then another emerges as your next key. What matters is that you choose one, hold to it, and speak it as one who knows that the words carry the full backing of the universe. A single phrase, spoken with faith, can move mountains that effort alone could not budge. It can dissolve years of limitation in a moment of spiritual clarity. It can swing wide the gates of opportunity, pouring into your life streams of supply that had been waiting for your word to set them free. Abundance is not an accident. It is a conscious creation. Every thought you think, every word you speak, and every feeling you hold is shaping the flow of your supply. Money is energy, and energy responds to the vibration you send out. When you bless what you have, speak prosperity instead of lack, and see every coin as a seed, you set in motion the law of multiplication. The universe does not withhold. It answers every clear decree you make. Wealth begins within, as a state of consciousness, long before it appears in your hands. Every transaction you bless, every fear you release, every phrase of power you speak plants roots into the unseen, where your good is already waiting. The moment you act, think, and speak as one who is divinely supplied, you step into the endless flow that has always been yours. Your hands are magnetic. Your words are creative. Your faith is the key. Prosperity is not about striving or struggling. It is about aligning with the truth that you are connected to infinite supply. When you live from that truth, you move through life as a giver and receiver of blessings, and the floodgates of abundance remain forever open.